I'm so excited I get to meet with you today. Thank you so much for letting me into your classroom and letting me watch that awesome lesson that you did. That was really exciting for me. I definitely saw some strengths that I'd like to highlight and pinpoint. I loved your enthusiasm. I love that you were so enthusiastic about teaching, and I have no doubt that that enthusiasm that you show in your classroom definitely carries over to your students, and I'm sure they're just as excited about learning as you are about teaching. So I really loved that. I also liked that you were able to really just roll with when there was a lag, you didn't freak out, you didn't panic, and I love that. I think that shows real leadership. I think the students will definitely follow your lead on that. And so when there was a lag, I like that you really were communicative with them and you said, I'm going to turn off my camera for a minute, I'm going to turn off my microphone for a minute, and then everything worked and you just kept going. So I really liked that you were able to just roll with that and you didn't panic and you didn't freak out. One of the things that I noticed with the structure of your lesson was that it was very teacher focused. And what I mean by that is, you did most of the talking and you worked at a very, very rapid pace. And it kind of had me wondering how you're checking for understanding as you move along. I know that you utilize the thumbs up, thumbs down method, and that's an awesome tool to use, especially when you're teaching kids virtually. However, I did notice that there were a lot of students who were not using that method and they just weren't responding. I also noticed there was a student who actually had a question in the chat. They had their hand raised for a very, very long time and it just kind of went unnoticed. And so one of the things that I saw that we might want to focus on is how we can change that a little bit and we can make it more of a student-centered classroom. We want students to be accountable for their own learning. We want them to really take that into their own hands and to really advocate for themselves in their own learning. And so I wonder if there's a way that we could implement some more engagement and maybe some more interaction into your lesson, which is a great way to keep students engaged and also really just to check for that understanding throughout your lesson. I'm just looking at some notes that I made here. You asked the students to say the sound, to write the sound, and to read it off the soundboard. And so you had that 3-strategy session, and I really like that. Those are 3 ways to really check for understanding. However, when you actually implemented the strategy, they had a chance to say the sound, and but they didn't get to write it down. I also worry that because you didn't actually hear them say that sound individually, that some of them might be confused, some of them might not be participating, and they might be missing out on that learning that you're really trying to share with them. One thing I was thinking is you might want to utilize something like whiteboards. I know that sometimes it's hard with students online to really engage them in some kind of writing piece. However, I know that students really love to use whiteboards. And so maybe if you implemented some whiteboard, you could also get in that write strategy. So they would have the chance to say it, they would have the chance to write it, and then they would also have the chance to read it on those flip words. And that way they could get all of those things in there. Some other strategies you might use is giving them a chance to verbally respond. I know that especially as you're learning those letter sounds and identifying those letters, that it's really important that you as the teacher have the chance to engage with them and hear them say those sounds to make sure they're doing it correctly. You might even let them participate with a partner. If there's some way you could partner them up or put them in some kind of breakout room, and that way they could have a chance to share with a peer, and that would give them another chance to kind of collaborate on that and practice making that sound out loud before they put it into the word. And they might have a lot of fun actually even doing that, even having that word and getting together with a partner and being able to share that word verbally with a partner might be another thing they would really like. I just think some kind of interaction and collaborative strategy could really benefit the students. I also think some just formative assessments throughout the lesson. My concern after watching the lesson was awesome. The things you were teaching were really spot on to what the students needed to learn. However, I did think, how do we know students are learning this? How do we know they're getting it? And so I think really maybe adding in some of that engagement and some of that formative assessment along the way, and also maybe slowing down the pace a little bit would really help us know what are the students actually understanding, what are they actually getting out of this lesson. Thanks for meeting with me today. I really appreciate it. Okay, on a side note, just some of the things, this is kind of hard because I don't really have anyone to interact with, but in a spontaneous conversation, some of the things I would definitely want to bring up, I had an academic concern. The students appear to be learning their letter sounds. However, I saw a CH blend added into like the word they were forming. Which was a little confusing. Have they learned blends yet is kind of what I wondered. And once again, I don't know where they're at in the whole lesson scheme, but they seem to go from identifying, sounds and letter recognition, and then there's a CH blend thrown in there. So I probably would have brought that up somewhere had I had a little more time. Also engagement, the students didn't appear to have any interaction with the teacher. There was not a lot of monitoring. There wasn't any formative assessment taking place. And I just wondered how she was gauging the mastery of the concepts or even their understanding throughout the lesson. And then just communication. The teacher spoke very, very quickly. I'm assuming these were students who were younger based on who the lesson was targeted to. And I'm wondering, are they able to keep up with the pacing of the lesson, seeing that how she moved so fast and rarely stopped to check for understanding or engagement. And so those were just some of the things I noticed. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I look forward to speaking with you.